So?
What do we do? Do I have to sit somewhere? Are there seatbelts? Like...
Well, you've done this before. This isn't your first trip.
Yeah, but it was proper this time.
Official.
But you can't reach the controls from the seats. What's the point in that? How much did it cost?
Five-finger discount.
No idea. I stole it.
Seriously?
No.
Your oath, sir. You're not supposed to go off-world unless it's an emergency.
I'm not off-world.
Are you going off-world?
I'm going back to my office. Could you put the kettle on,
Your
please?
oath.
Between here and my office, before the kettle boils, is everything that ever happened or ever will. Make your choice.
What choice?
Make it count.
Past or future.
I want to see if it's happy.
Okay then.
Get here. Round them up, big fella.
Okay.
Mom is dead. Sorry.
Smile, smile, smile.
Oh
That's not even
no.
funny. No, it's not a joke. Mommy's dead.
You've got to
Mom
keep
is
up
dead.
the appearance of smiling. Oh, that's a great shot.
Space is bent. Come along.
Come along, pond.
This is one of the Earth's first colonists. They say the settlers have cracked the secret of human happiness.
Ugh.
Little fella said you made an oath. You're not supposed to leave the planet.
I suppose I owe you an explanation.
He's not gonna
A
explain.
long time ago, a thing happened. As a result of the thing, I made a promise. As a result of the promise, I have to stay on Earth.
Guarding a vault.
You know what I really like about humanity? It's optimism. Do you know what this building is made of? Pure, soaring optimism.
You'll find out.
Versatile, hardworking, good at learning skills. The worker bees of the third industrial revolution.
What's that? That
Is a robot.
is a robot. That is not a disappointing robot. Will we understand it?
Well, it depends upon what aspect of your language has survived over so many thousands of years.
Emoji.
Emoji.
It speaks emoji.
Of course it does.
What's that?
Blank patches.
Oh no.
I think that this is some kind of a mood indicator.
But you're never allowed to see your own mood.
It makes sense.
Does it?
Well, seeing your own mood might affect your own mood. Emojis, wearable communications. We're in the utopia of vacuous...
Skeptical. Oh, Jello. Guessing it's got
Look at this.
all the essentials.
You knew I was starving. It smells like fish.
I'm not that fond of fish. Except socially, which can complicate a meal like this.
Should we eat it though?
How about Jim the fish?
No humans.
This is a perfect colony for humans, so where are all the colonists?
2 portions though.
Well, that's because that one is mine.
He's got 2 hearts after all.
Is there going to be food sexism even in the future? Is this bloke utopia?
It's probably really means 2 people. The heartbeats.
Uh-oh.
I can see you're worried.
Well, you never know what's round the next corner.
Yeah. There's been humans here already. I mean, us audience knows, but they don't. Not quite yet.
Rosemary.
I'm spelling home. 20 light years from home. Thanks for bringing me. This is a great day out.
Oh.
You asked me where all the people were, and I theorized that they hadn't got here yet. Did I sound convincing?
Yeah.
And did I convince myself?
No.
No. There should be some kind of a setup team. A skeleton crew.
You're thinking.
This is fertilizer. Mineral fertilizer.
Oh.
Calcium based. Now.
Oh
We
no.
don't have answers, so let's put together 2 questions. What is the source of this mineral fertilizer?
Human remains.
Where are all the people?
The skeleton crew.
Here.
How about that shot?
The colonists aren't here yet. This is the setup team. The skeleton crew. Do you know what it means when something chases you very slowly? What? It means there's a reason that they don't have to run.
Yeah. They've got it covered. Ooh, fancy looking halls.
The robots want you to be happy, but they got the wrong end of the stick. I think we should give them what they want.
Smile. Yeah, almost did that huggy thing.
Where did they come from?
Once we're out of the city, we should be safe.
This feels really different. You know, the tone kind of continues on from the first episode. That's a beautiful, beautiful shot.
That place is a living death trap. We can't just leave it with its mouth wide open.
They're all dead? We saw them. It's too late.
We have to assume that there is a colony ship on the way.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen when all those people arrive?
I mean, she'll go after him at some point, but...
Penguin, his house on fire.
Oh. Oh.
Well, there's someone there. I can hear you breathing.
Why are you Scottish?
It's Scottish, I'm just cross.
Ah.
You don't call the helpline because you are
The helpline.
Don't sentimentalize me. I don't just fly around helping people out.
What are you doing right now?
I happen to be passing by, so I'm mucking in.
You never passed by in your life. You couldn't even leave me serving chips. So I'm not going to leave you.
Smile. You're in the belly of the beast.
Ah.
Oh, you really are smiling, aren't you?
Do you know why? You're an awesome tutor.
Oh. Whoa. Ah, human history. Vincent,
Why do people come here?
to escape.
Did something terrible happen?
I can't hear you! But there were a number of ships. I bumped into a few of them over the years.
Ah. Oh no, oh no, no, you're gonna bump into it.
Are we there yet?
It's the kid from the locket. The whole crew is essentially South Asian. Or as I believe you guys call them Asian in England, right? Or refer to them as Asian.
My very good people, we will soon be beginning an emergency disembarkation.
Wow.
Good people, please prepare for disembarkation.
Wow.
Cryogenically frozen. What's in those pods, Bill? Is the surviving population
The loss of
of
humanity.
Earth. And I nearly killed all of them.
Welcome to your new world.
The ones with skills,
The best ones. The brave ones.
they were woken to shepherd the little flocks of Vardy robots. Grief! Grief! Grief as plague!
How?
The Vardis, well, their job was to maintain happiness. I never died here before this lady. The Vardis, they've never heard of grief before. This place is all about hope and the future and happiness. No one ever thought about the opposite.
Smiling through the grief,
They
eh?
identified grief as the enemy of happiness, and everyone who was experiencing grief as a problem, as...
Compost.
And all those dead people, well, you know, they had friends and family too, so...
Even more compost.
And so on and so on and so on.
Lots
and
of
what
grief.
you get is a whole, like, a grief tsunami.
Well, you'll find her when she wakes up in her pod.
I
Nah.
found it in the fruit garden when we first arrived.
Oh.
So when they find out what happened to them,
They'll be grief-stricken.
Oh yeah. Lots of it.
and after that,
A massacre.
what's the opposite of a massacre? In my experience, a lecture.
Yeah. Lots of monologues and speeches, lectures. Some iconic ones.
What have you done?
In fact, the fisherman wished that he hadn't wished the first two wishes.
Mm.
In a way, press the reset button.
What the hell did you do?
Look at them back there.
Aren't you listening?
Reset?
I pressed the reset button. Retaining all programmed abilities, but deleting the supplementary preference architecture.
You turned it off and on again.
I
Yeah.
turned it off and on again. Would you like me to discuss rent?
So, is it gonna work?
That's up to them.
Did we just jumpstart a new civilization?
Kind of.
Dirty job, but someone's got to do it.
Did you do this all the time?
Do what?
Fly around sorting things out like some kind of intergalactic policeman?
I don't sort things out. I'm definitely not a policeman.
Oh,
It wasn't snowing when we left.
yeah. About that.
Maybe I do need a steering wheel. London.
Uh,
And this is the Thames.
Okay, then. Okay, how about that? Bit of a cliffhanger setting up the next episode. And it appears to be, the traditional after the future episode, you go to a past episode, right? They appear to be in London, but it's, something's a little bit off about it, right? And the fact that they actually showed up there is also something that's a bit off because the Doctor firmly believed that they're heading back to the university, to that time period, right? But no, he ended up here. Now, I'm not saying this is the thing that's at play here, but, kind of leaning into the potential season-long mystery of the vault, people who might have a legitimate interest in getting the Doctor away from that vault, right? Again, I'm not saying that's the thing that's at play here, and that's the reason they showed up in this time period by accident, but I do think something like that is a strong possibility at some point. But yeah, 2 episodes in, I'd say, this season-long mystery element is certainly one of the things I'm most excited about. Moffat does a fantastic job, I think, for the most part, as far as the season-long mysteries go. And of course, earlier in the episode, it's a bit of a limited appearance for Nardole this time, but it's still quite a significant appearance, right? Because he's playing that role, he's reminding the Doctor of his oath. Your oath, sir. Right? You're not supposed to leave. You're not supposed to go off-world. They made it really quite clear in the last episode that the Doctor appears to be tethered to this place. I mean, there is a bit more insight, but it's really quite cryptic, isn't it? It's really quite comedic as well, of course, because the Doctor is telling her something without actually telling her anything, right? A long time ago, a thing happened, right? And then as a result of the thing, I made a promise. And as a result of the promise, I became the guardian of that vault. So yeah, I think it'll be great to actually, fill in these holes as the season progresses, the series progresses. And, again, you have to think about who exactly is the Doctor going to make an oath to, right? It's the Doctor for the most part. He's not doing something like that, is he? So, again, that thing that happened that led to a promise, it's going to be quite substantial. It promises to be something really quite out there, I think, as far as the Doctor goes. Again, I just find it so fascinating that he's making an oath to stick around. It's something the Doctor does not do, right? So, of course, it kind of brings back some of my speculation from the first episode's discussion, right? Some of the questions I had. I mentioned the choice earlier, the future or the past. Usually it is the future, isn't it? I immediately thought of the Beast Below as well. Hell, this whole thing about this ship or the incident or the situation and the Doctor actually coming across a few of these other ships from time to time. I believe it might be the same situation from the Beast Below, right? That might be the reason. The same reason they're mentioning here, or something along those lines, perhaps. Let me know if I'm off the mark on this. But speaking of the Beast Below, it is really quite reminiscent of these types of episodes. Episodes such as Gridlock. I was recently actually even thinking about Gridlock and how much I liked that episode. Good thing I remembered again. I'm definitely going to pop that in and check it out. There's episodes like the Planet of the Oods, right? There's planets like New Earth. Not planets, episodes like New Earth, The End of the World, right? Rose's second episode, again, her going to the future. And as for the episode itself, I'll say that perhaps it's an episode that kind of begins much stronger than it ends, right? I think the first half of the episode is really, really quite fantastic because ultimately it is a two-hander, right? For the most part, for a majority of that runtime, at least half, maybe even a bit more than half. I think essentially, these human characters that are introduced in the final stages of the episode essentially I think they're introduced essentially a bit too late. And I do feel that the resolution of this is kind of rushed, right? A little bit jarring, even given how the Doctor sides with the Vardys, right? I kept thinking of the footballer Jamie Vardy from Leicester City. But to use that football analogy, I love to use so much. It's certainly a tale of two halves, isn't it? This episode. But yeah, the first half, really enjoyable. And of course, it gives them that time to build that dynamic, right? To work on that dynamic, to work on that rapport. I mean, you see Bill is just absolutely loving this. She's loving having a tutor such as the Doctor. I mean, Bill is such a breath of fresh air, isn't she? And, once again, it continues to feel like, yeah, this is kind of like a soft reboot, or maybe not a soft reboot because, essentially Rose is the soft reboot, right? Series 1, episode 1. That is a full-on soft reboot. But again, it's pretty clear that the last episode, yeah, it is a bit of a reboot, isn't it? A jumping on point, essentially. It certainly felt like it. And, again, the direction of that episode, and then, of course, the contents of this episode, the focus of this episode as well, yeah, it felt like something really quite new. Now, again, on one end, that's a good thing because, again, it gives us a chance to see the new Doctor Companion duo, the new dynamic at play, right? The building phase, the building blocks of this new relationship. Because this is our first new companion in a long time, a companion that had nothing to do with the Doctor, no attachment, right? As far as I know, as of this point, right? They've hinted at a few things, right? And yeah, I'll see how it all plays out. But if you compare it to, again, Rory and Amy, right? They spent a lot of time with the Doctor, and then of course Amy had a lot of attachment to the Doctor and a lot of ties to the Doctor, the 11th specifically. And then, of course, you've got Clara. I mean, early stages, Clara was just straight up a part of the Doctor's DNA, essentially, right? Going all the way back. But yeah, here you have someone that is just so completely new to this. And for that reason, the episodes do feel like some of the earlier episodes, perhaps. Again, it did have a feeling of some of those early Eccleston episodes, some of those early Matt Smith and Amy episodes as well. Again, the Beast Below comes to mind almost immediately. And the End of the World as well, right? Rose's second outing. But yeah, Pearl and Capaldi certainly dominate the proceedings for a long chunk of this episode, right? And I'd say that is the portion of this episode I really enjoyed. Because again, it's early stages, and right now the focus really is on those two, isn't it? Now, the thing is, I'm not sure how long Bill is going to be around for. I've seen a few things here and there about Jodie's run. One thing I know for sure is that there's multiple companions. I've seen promo shots here and there on Twitter. I know there's this really, really great comedian. I think he's Scouse. Cannot remember the name at the moment, but I know he is a part of that series at some point, or he is a part of Jodie's run at some point. John something maybe? I don't know. I've seen him on Graham Norton a few times, and he's great. He's great. I love him. So I don't know. I don't know if Pearl is exclusively here for maybe the final series for Capaldi, or if she is going to be making appearances in Jodie's run as well. But going back to my point about this feeling like the second outing for a new Doctor in a new series and a new companion, yeah, maybe, there's a bit of a strange feeling attached to it, given that it is Capaldi's final series. So, I wasn't, going into this series, I wasn't really expecting this type of tone. You can certainly see how this could easily be a jumping on point, right? And, from time to time, that's a good thing. It is a good thing because it can be daunting. It can be daunting for someone new to, look at it and see, oh, series 9 or series 10, that is daunting. I've actually experienced that before on this show. Right, for the longest time, I've always wanted to check it out, but then I remember, oh man, 7 seasons or 8 seasons or 9 series. But let's focus on that element. The newcomer, Bill Potts, Pearl. Yeah, I mean, listen, like I said, a breath of fresh air. Her joy is just so infectious, isn't it? It kind of continues, doesn't it, from the last episode, and that that aspect of her having such realistic and grounded reactions for the most part, because of course, at the end of the day, it is a science fiction show, isn't it? I'm seeing things here that a certain crowd might not like too much, but I don't want to get ahead of myself here. And I should make it clear, I'm not taking a stance on anything here. I'm just noting that, based on other fandoms' reactions to certain things and certain directions, I'm sure there might be a segment of the fan base that might not like this new direction for the show, perhaps. Again, early days, but I've seen a lot of things in my time, and I've seen a lot of different fandoms. So I think the comment section for this series specifically could be quite interesting. Could make for interesting reading and opinions. But let's go back to the delightful Bill Potts, unabashed and infectious, right? Her reaction to this future, this constant smile that she has on her face, of course. On a few occasions, that smile kind of disappears once it gets a little bit dark, takes a bit of a darker turn. Her really distinct disposition is one of the reasons the doctor felt that, yeah, she'd make for a good companion, a good traveling companion, right? That I do want to be a mentor figure to her. Again, that professor-student relationship. I love it. I just love it. The dynamic that these two have together at this point. Listen, I've said it so many times before, and I know it's going to just sound boring at this point. The romance angle, as you know by now, I got a little bit tired of that dynamic. But yeah, going back to Bill, she's certainly quite eager, isn't she? But she's also sensible enough to ask the relevant questions. And the thing I like here is that a lot of these questions are kind of unconventional in comparison to some of the other companions I've seen. And that's a good thing, right? Again, refreshing. This is certainly a new type of inquisitive nature on display through Bill Potts. And it's not just questions, is it? She's really quite unconventional in terms of pointing out certain things that no one's really pointed out before, right? Things as simple and fun as, how come the chair isn't closer to the control panel in the middle of the TARDIS? Things like that, right? And then, of course, once again, it kind of continues that whole, police box aspect of this. And hell, I think there's a brilliant bit of intuition on her end as she ultimately or essentially figures out that, he could have changed it anytime he really wanted to, the appearance of it. He keeps it looking like that by choice. And essentially she's implying that indeed he is the policeman of the universe. And of course, part of the Doctor knows this to be true. But yeah, I'm really quite enjoying Bill's charming enthusiasm about all of this. Right? Sure, there's going to be ups and downs, but so far so good. It's a great start for a new companion. It really is. But yeah, I've got to say, I really like the setting itself. Some beautiful photography, of course. Beautiful use of color, color design. Be it the I don't know, raw metallic nature, industrial nature of the older ship, right? Be it the lush colors outside. And of course, lush colors, you immediately think of Bill's top as well, the rainbow top. And then of course, inside of this fantastic place, listen, you can clock the green screen in a lot of moments, but they're actually in that place. This is a place that they go to. I need to learn more about this place because it is magnificent, isn't it? Right? But in terms of the color design, the pristine white of that place, it's really quite the stark contrast. But yeah, it's some stunning architecture on display, isn't it? Right? And of course, places like that, locations such as that, make for just the perfect backdrops for photography. There's a lot of fantastic drone shots even on the outside, right? And a lot of wide shots as well, external and internal. So yeah, of course, from a production standpoint, a lot to like about this episode as well. Right, as you know by now, I'm big on photography, in anything really, film, television, anime, gaming. Let me know if you felt the same thing, but at points it really kind of felt like a Black Mirror episode, to me at least. And then of course you've got the robots, the interface robots, and then of course you've got the emoji aspect of all of this, right? The communication that survived all this time. But I've got to say, I'm a little bit surprised that somehow they didn't kind of bring in the eggplant emoji at some point, sneak it in for a gag, of course. A fun moment, maybe it could have been a bit too much, right? The implications of the eggplant emoji. All of us have used that emoji. Come on, let's be real. But yeah, I really like the concept of a large, pristine space, right? A liminal space, if you will. And it just being full of these interface robots, right? And yeah, that is, again, like I said earlier, that is the aspect of this episode that I like the most. But yeah, these interface robots essentially identified grief as the enemy of happiness, right? And everyone who's experiencing grief as a problem, a problem that they solve, right? Quite effectively. And of course, the idea of forcing a smile out of someone who is under duress, it's certainly quite a psychologically disturbing one, isn't it? Always, in any situation, really, in any type of story. But yeah, I think that should do it for this one. Once again, I just want to say that I'm really enjoying Bill's role in this so far, right? Her reaction to this so far, her, immediate loyalty towards the Doctor, her respect towards the Doctor. Listen, anytime the actor, Pearl, anytime she smiles, you cannot help but smile yourself, right? It's just, I don't know, it's such a radiant smile. It brings it out of you. It certainly brings it out of me. And I'm sure many of you can relate to that as well, right? So I hope to see her smile many more times throughout the span of this series, right? But yeah, if you enjoyed that, consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments, give me your thoughts. If you are interested in timer-based full length or perhaps even early access, consider checking out the Patreon page and potentially supporting the channel. The links are in the description and the pinned comment. Also links to social media, things like Twitter and Instagram. Right then, thank you so much for joining me, folks, and thank you for your time, because time is precious. It really is. And I do hope to see you again soon for the next one. Until then, take it easy.